Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen are coming to Switch 2, but is this the worst deal in history? Is Pokemon trying to rip us off here? Because I, for one, will not be buying these games on Switch 2, and there is a very, very simple reason for that. Basically, these games should have been part of the Nintendo Switch Online package, okay? You pay a yearly subscription to Nintendo Switch Online, you get access to a ton of retro games, okay? I'm talking Nintendo 64, I'm talking Super Nintendo, NES, even GameCube now, Game Boy Advance, but Nintendo or Pokemon or whoever is in charge of this thing, they have done something that I think is a little bit shifty. Charging $20 per game for FireRed and LeafGreen, I know they are super popular, when they could have easily just been added to the NSO, feels a little bit not quite right for me, and I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed about it. By the way, guys, it's Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. Let's do it. So I didn't even want to say this at the top of the video in case I got in trouble from YouTube, but the main reason I think this is not a good deal, $20 per game, is that these games are very, very accessible. In fact, these games have been incredibly accessible for a very long time via emulation and the ROMs of the game, but I really think that even though Nintendo is making these games as accessible as possible for people at like a reasonable price, it's just not really fair to expect people to buy them. And I'm not going to give away any secrets, and I also own a physical copy of FireRed, so technically me having a ROM of it is legal, but I just think it is so beyond laughably easy to get a ROM of these games and play them pretty much anywhere. I mean, right now, within probably 10 minutes of finishing this video, I could play it on my MacBook Pro, my Mac Mini, any PC, probably my PSP, even like my original Switch, which like are pretty easy to mod as well. And I think Nintendo is very, very aware that piracy of their games is a big problem. They definitely hate it, by the way, and so they should. I mean, technically it is completely stealing their intellectual property. Pokemon is one of the most profitable brands in the world. Of course, they want to protect their IP, but the thing is, if people can readily access these games, it's going to be difficult to convince them to pay $20 more to buy them again so they can have them on their Switch too. I really would have expected this to be an NSO kind of thing rather than just being an outright game you have to purchase, and it's pretty disappointing. It does feel like a little bit of a ripoff for me. There is honestly no incentive for me to buy this as someone who owns the original game and could easily play it somewhere else. If you want my actual thoughts on FireRed and LeafGreen as games, I think they are fantastic games. They are often called now like the epitome of what Gen 1, the Kanto Pokemon games are supposed to be. Of course, red, blue, and yellow, or red, green, and yellow, depending on what country you were born in, were the original Pokemon games made in the late 90s on Game Boy, but those games are pretty full of glitches and there are a lot of errors with them. Of course, they were fun in the day, but FireRed and LeafGreen really like revamped them and modernized them a bit. To be honest, I was always more of a Gold, Silver, Crystal guy, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver are probably to me the absolute peak of what Pokemon is. I especially love how Gen 4 introduced like the physical special split that really changed up how the game could work and made it a lot more complex and just a lot more fun. But FireRed and LeafGreen, I think, was paving the way for those changes to be made. It also introduced the ability system to Kanto, which was new in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. That really added a lot more dynamics to the game as well. These days, I don't even really play mainline Pokemon games. Sometimes I like to jump on and find like Poke hacks, like games that are hacks of Pokemon where people have like made their own story, made new campaigns. Like I've played Pokemon Radical Red, I've played a bunch of them over the years, and I like checking those out because they often put another spin onto the games. And ironically, it always does seem to be the fans that are putting the most innovation into Pokemon and making hacks and mods like Radical Red, which was really, really fun to play. Super quick interruption, guys. If you like this video, I do all kinds of videos on 90s, 2000s, millennial, Gen Z, pop culture, and nerd culture. I would love for you to check them out. Means a lot seeing my subscriber count increase pretty much every day. And if you are keen to check out my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me if you hit that button and check out some of my other videos. Thank you so much. Back to the video. So yes, I think FireRed and LeafGreen are the ultimate versions of what the Kanto region of Pokemon has to offer, but I definitely won't be picking them up on Nintendo Switch to play them again, especially because to get both, I'd have to pay $40. This really does feel a little bit greedy from Nintendo, and before people call me out calling it greedy for them to charge for their own games, like I totally appreciate that, but I reckon like $10 is a fair price point for a game like this, or even just $20 $20 for both of the games. Because like the games have been out for so long, and as I said, they are so readily accessible. And a lot of people say the best way to counter piracy is to make things easily available and affordable. And I know people will say $20 feels affordable, but I feel like at the moment, like the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And even $20 for a game you've already played before just to have it on your Switch doesn't feel super worth it to me when there are so many other ways you could play this game. It does get me excited though to see if maybe Pokemon will put out a Heart Gold or Soul Silver re-release on Nintendo Switch, in which case like I probably would be a little bit more tempted to pick it up. I know that's kind of hypocritical of me to say that, but if they charge $20 for that, I would grab Soul Silver just because that game is so nostalgic for me in so many ways. And I'm quietly cautious about that happening. I would love to see it happen, but for now, I'm still kind of in this mode where like I grew up playing Pokemon and I still love this franchise so much. Like every time there's a new generation, I love checking out the new designs, any megas, alternate forms, regional forms, all that stuff. It always just like makes me really giddy, but I haven't been able to get into a Pokemon game for a long time. The last one I tried was Legends Arceus and I just couldn't get into it. And then Sword and Shield and whatever the newer ones are, Scarlet and Violet, like as far as I could tell, they were just buggy messes. And that is the ultimate problem, I think, with Pokemon that might hurt them in the medium long term. It's that they are so confident that their products will sell because they are so popular and the brand is so strong that they actually don't have to put that much effort in anymore. And that's why you get games like Scarlet and Violet, which come out and they're a buggy mess. Because Pokemon knows that parents will buy it for their kids anyway. And maybe you could argue that like millennials aren't supposed to be playing Pokemon anymore because they're games for kids. But I think Pokemon could definitely capitalize on this massive nostalgia market that they already are capitalizing on in different forms, but just by putting out new, innovative and interesting games. Overall, I'll always love Pokemon, but I just thought this one felt a little bit weird to me. Over to you now, guys. What do you think of this? Will you be picking them up? Which one? FireRed, LeafGreen, both? Let me know down in the comments. And I would love to know, do you think it's too expensive? And have you ever played it not on the official hardware, if you know what I mean? Let me know in the comments as well. If you got nothing to comment, but you want to help me out in the comments anyway, just comment below your favorite starter, Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. Mine is always Squirtle. I love that guy. If you like this video, you might also like this video I did here where I talk about Pokopia, the new game, and why I think it looks really exciting. But if you just want to watch a bunch of videos about Pokemon, boy oh boy, do I have a playlist for you to binge. That's pretty much it from me though. My name's InReadyMike. This has been the Inside of My Mind, and I'll catch you later.